got a new cable for the microphone, so hopefully today those audio issues are gonna be fewer or none. Ideally, none. GM and welcome to another Solana tutorial. Today we're gonna talk about Token 2020. No, 22. That's the name. Token 22. Today we're gonna talk about Token 2022. Since it's now mid-2023, it's about time for that thing to, be released. And we're just gonna have a look at that. I did make a video about Token 2022 sometime last year. I know it was during Paris Hacker House. When was Paris Hacker House? Oh yeah, good old times when it was hot outside. As it is now. And I'm wearing the same shirt. July 18th. So 11 months ago, I made my first video on SBL Token 2022. And I just want to have a look at the progress and how we can use Token 2022 right now. Also, there might be a name change in Token 2022 because, we'll see. Will it forever be called Token 22? I have no idea. Probably not. Probably marketing is gonna think of a better name. But until then, it's called Token 2020. I can't even Token 22. Ideally, I would like to play around with confidential transfers because that's the flagship feature of Token 22. But I'm not sure if that's ready yet, actually. We can have a look at it. We're gonna have a look at the state of Token 22. And yeah, just play around with it a little. Just to be up to date on what's happening there. I don't think that the extensions changed, but we definitely have better integration in the CLI now. So you don't need to do it all manually. Also, some wallets are already implementing it, so that's cool. Let's just play around with Token 22 a bit. Why not? Let's go. Token 2022 program. This is a separate program from the normal token program, which is a superset of the functionality. So that means it can do the same thing as the normal token program plus more. And in the beginning, I was like, why do you make a separate program for this? We have the token program. Why don't you just extend the token program? A year ago, I didn't really understand because in my mind, the architecture was there's one token program and everybody just uses this. By now, I actually really enjoy the idea of a separate program for additional stuff. For once, because as soon as there are two programs, then it's easy to get to 3. So it's easy for people to develop their own token programs. Because if other Solana programs need to support different token programs, then exchanging a token program will be much easier than if there was just this one token program. And even more importantly than that, tokens are like the most important primitive on Solana. Because without tokens, pretty much none of the other protocols really work. Like 99% are based on some kind of tokens, whether that being NFTs or DeFi or DAOs or anything else. It's all pretty much based on tokens, which means there's a lot of value in those tokens. Just think of USDC, the Circle stablecoin. Actually, let's look at that. USDC. I know it's an address starting with E, EPJ. The current supply of USDC is $5 billion. $5 billion in USDC alone. That's quite some value. Okay, if you compare it against Ethereum, maybe not that much. Okay. But if there was a bug in the token program, that would be really, really bad if you could just get access to those 5 billion. So it's really important for the token program to not have any bugs. And complexity adds the likelihood of bugs, which means having this one old token program that is like fixed and not changed because it was audited properly and it has been working without exploits so far. Leaving that as it is a good strategy, and building a new token program, Token 2022, on a separate address, to me, makes perfect sense now. Because the token program by now is frozen in terms of immutable. It's an immutable program. Let me quickly check if that's actually true, if we see that on chain as well. Token program. The token kek, that's the old one, is executable, and it doesn't tell me anything about an update authority. Does that mean it's immutable? Probably. I don't really know how Explorer displays this. Because if we compare to token, it's not even in there yet. Okay, then we copy this address. The token Z, I like to think of it as Gen Z, to, you know, because the old one is a millennial and this one is a Gen Z. Whatever. Makes it easier for me to... Anyway, token Z is the one from 2022. And this one has an upgradable yes. Okay, so this one still has an update authority. So this one can still be changed. Obviously, because it's still in development. That's also what it says here. The program is still under audit and not meant for full production use. But all of the clusters have actually deployed it for testing and development purposes only. We're a dev, so it's made for us to do some dev stuff for testing and development. If we go to project status, here we see approximately the timeline. Those things are never 100% true, but that's the ETA, so the expected time of arrival, not the actual time of arrival. It's not an ATA, which is also an associated token account, but never mind. Abbreviations. Ideally, by this summer, they'll be done with the audits and, you know, final bug fixes and whatnot. And then it would go live on mainnet, like officially, like with a flag, please use this now, or you can use this now, as of fall of this year, so another quarter. And it depends on version 1.16. Let me quickly check. 2/3 are still on 1.14.17. A few are already on 14.19. So the current version seems to be 1.14 something. And we require 1.16, I think, for confidential token. Could that be? Because we need those curve syscalls. Yeah, we need them for the confidential token. So that kind of sounds like confidential tokens don't work yet. So we see that not a lot is happening on the new token program. It's not really actively used. It saw a bit of a bump with this weird meme coin burn or whatever. Don't want to give a shout out to that. But last year, when I was talking to John, about the Token 2022, he said pretty much everything works except the confidential token. And for the confidential token, they need to increase transaction size limits, basically this thing, such that they can support the proof in one transaction. You know, similar how we submit the proof for compressed CNFTs. When we do a transfer, we're gonna need something like that, just a different kind of proof, a CK knowledge proof, zero knowledge proof. I like to say words double, CK knowledge, compressed CNFT. Anyway, so we need to submit a proof, and the issue a year ago was that proof size was too big. Now there is a workaround with proof split that was not talked about a year ago, but I think this is already implemented and live. Not sure. Essentially, the idea is we split the entire proof into 2 parts, or into, I don't know, several parts. And then we upload them such that all the proof is basically on chain. And then when we do the transfer, it can use the proof that is stored on chain. And then we can, remove it again and get our rent back. Then we need several transactions to, submit the proof. And the one transaction that actually does the transfer is then small enough because it has all the proof data on chain. That's a little bit of a workaround, but it's one way how to get around the transaction size limits. Yeah, those transaction size limits are one of the most annoying things to deal with on Solana. I know that that's why we do so much development in that direction, like with lookup tables and whatnot. But yeah, also a security thing. If transactions can be arbitrarily big, then the poor validators, because the amount of network requests they're getting, that's ridiculous if they were big. packages as well. So I'm not sure, but I don't think that confidential transfers are available yet. And I want to make a separate video just on confidential transfers because that's a big topic. It's also down here, but like the docs on that are pretty inexistent. But if you're interested in that, what I can definitely recommend is to read that white paper that John wrote. There was a white paper somewhere. CK token protocol paper. I think that was the one. Yeah, that was the one. And it starts out by laying out the difference between confidentiality and anonymity. Confidentiality basically just means that you cannot tell how much was transferred, so the amount is confidential, but you can see who transferred to whom. So with confidential token, you can still see who transfers where, but you can't see how much. Anonymity then means that you can't say who transferred to who, but you could theoretically see how much was transferred. And then if you have confidentiality and anonymity, then it's fully private. And Token2022 just supports confidentiality, not anonymity. That's one important thing to realize, like to keep in mind. It's not a full privacy solution like Light Protocol or Elusive would be doing. Yeah, so this paper, I read it last year. It's pretty interesting read, and it's not so hard to understand if you have a bit of a background. I mean, I skipped the whole like mathematics behind it. That was like all the proofs. I was like, okay, don't wanna understand this. But the basic idea, if you skim through that, that's actually quite nice. And I might go into detail there in a future video when we actually discuss confidential tokens in detail. Coming soon. For now, I'm like, well, just look at all those symbols. Okay, moving on. What's part 2? That's the very, very mathematical part that I'm like, nah, skip it. Okay, anyway, so I think confidential token is not available yet, but what is available are pretty much all the other extensions, like mint close authority, transfer fees. That was the one that we looked at the first video. There we still did all of it in JavaScript, and now there's CLI for it, right? We did it in JavaScript, those things, but there's also CLI now, the SPL token. Still the same CLI, the same command line interface. You just need to specify the new token program. Default account states, immutable owners, non-transferable tokens, and that always works with the enable an extension. So Token2022 basically works with those extensions. Like by itself, it does pretty much the same thing as the normal token program, but then you can allow extensions like non-transferable extension or memo transfer. You require a memo for each transfer. That's an extension. And if you enable that extension, then it's active and it's required. You know, here we would say create token and then enable required transfer memos. Aha. And here it also does the reallocate example. Interest-bearing tokens. Permanent Delegate. I haven't heard that one. Possible to specify a permanent account delegate. This authority has unlimited delegate privileges over any account for that mint. Meaning that it can burn or transfer any amount of tokens. Well, that seems safe. Just enable a permanent delegate, and basically that permanent delegate can do whatever it wants with those tokens. While this feature certainly has room for abuse, it has many important real-world use cases. Like, you know, seizing assets from sanctioned entities. Might go against the ethos of some Web3 folks, but I don't know, if you want mass adoption and appeal to like real world authorities, then yeah, I mean, we as the people using this just need to be aware that this exists. Same with the normal token delegation, right? In the beginning, like the token program always supported delegations, right? You can set a delegate who can then move your tokens away. Problem was nobody knew about it, or at least regular people didn't know about it. So they thought, if it's in my wallet, it's mine. Nobody can transfer it out. Well, that was wrong because the token program had that feature. Now, Token2022 has the permanent delegate feature. So we need to check if that feature is enabled for that token and be aware of what it means for us. I'm not against this being implemented. I'm fine with it. I just then need to make sure that, I don't know, if I get a payment in, I don't know, USDC or whatever, I need to be clear of the consequences. By the way, with USDC, they still hold the freeze authority, right? USDC can also be frozen. It can't be seized, but it can be frozen at any time by Circle. Don't think they will do that unless they receive like pressure from, I don't know, states or whatnot. But that is certainly possible. So your USDC, even though you own it, does not actually mean it can't be just, frozen. Or with a permanent delegate, even seized. So here you go. There's the alpha. That's why it's important for us to actually look at that. What is there? What features are in this token program? And then some of you guys will exploit that, of course. For some of you, I should maybe not have told you that because you go scam other people. Bad you. But for the regular user, I would argue knowledge is always better than no knowledge. So essentially what I'm saying is be aware of when you're using Token2022, not just because it's not audited yet, but also because it has all those features that most of the people just don't even know about. Like until 5 minutes ago, I didn't know that permanent delegate would be a thing, but it is. Okay, anyway, it's also possible to implement a Harburger tax on an NFT. What is that? Whereby an auction program has permanent delegate authority for the token. After a sale, the permanent delegate can move the NFT from the owner to the buyer if the previous owner doesn't pay the tax. Yeah, I mean, those kind of use cases could be fun. If the permanent delegate is a program subtext that I trust, then I maybe even like that. Because, I mean, if I know the program is well written and it will only, take the NFT if I actually did something wrong or, if I don't pay my tax or whatever. But then I can keep it in my wallet and transfer it around as much as I want until it's seized. So there are interesting use cases that come up with that sort of stuff. And I kind of like it. I get excited about it. So much so that I want to play around with this. So yeah, this one for now seems to be the most interesting of all the extensions. So maybe we start with that. What else is there? Transfer hook. Oh, so there are new. I haven't read those either. Because that's cool. Because, I mean, there was this transfer fee stuff. But with transfer fees, you can't do NFT royalties. Because it would take the royalties in the token itself. So if it's an NFT and you have even just 0.001%, then that's rounded up to the entire token, and then you would take the entire token as a transfer fee. So that's not what you want. But with transfer hooks, I mean, I'm just reading this first time now. Current solution typically resort to permanently freezing tokens. Yes, Metaplex does that. All in all, these systems harm the composability and make development harder. I agree. Solution? To improve the situation, Token2022 introduces the concept of transfer hook interface and extensions. Develop and deploy a program that implements the interface and then configure their token to use their program. So that's cool. So essentially, the Token2022 program will then call my program, which does checks if that transfer is allowed or whatever. And if my program says, yes, it's allowed, then the token program will do the transfer. And otherwise, it will not. That way, we can enforce royalties in a nicer way than what is currently done with PNFTs. So yeah, this sounds super interesting as well, and probably deserves its own video because we need to write our own program for that. So yeah, so let's start with this because this seems somewhat easy to use. And let's see if we can use the CLI to set up a token like this. Somewhere I read which version I need. Minimum 1.10.33. Solana version. I'm on 1.15. 2.3. 2.4 is already out. I guess 2.3 will be fine. Let's see if I see any of the, yeah, I already see Token 2022 stuff. Cool. Let's play around with that. On Definite though, because I ain't got no money. No, that's not true, but I don't want to spend money unnecessarily. So let's get ourselves some keys. First of all, just a user, then a Permanent Delegate token, PDT, and then the massive authority, Permanent Delegate. Let's call him super user, Su9. Okay. All right. Solana config set key pair. We start with the user on Definite. Come on, let's get one airdrop. Yes, we got some air. 2 sols should be enough for playing around with tokens. I'm already gonna fund the address of the super user. Shall get 1 sol. Yes, yes. Allow unfunded. Good. So let's try this. SPL token with the program ID of the Gen Z, so the token program 2022. We create a token with enable permanent delegate. That's what this looks like. Enable permanent delegate. And we also say we want it at this address. Cool. So we have the permanent delegate token with the standard 9 decimals because I didn't specify anything else. And that's fine. Which means if we now look at that in Explorer on DevNet, we see an account owned by the Token 2022 program. And we don't see much else in here. I mean, I would really like to see the, mint authority and stuff, but even Explorer doesn't, show the details for that. Let's see how other explorers do. Well, Solscan at least recognizes it as a token. And wow, they tell me this is the authority and this is the permanent delegate. Cool. Cool. So Solscan does show it in a nicer way. What others are there? Also tells me unknown token, decimals mint authority, but this one doesn't tell me the permanent delegate. What other explorers are there? X-Ray. X-Ray is the only one that supports CNFTs. But can I go to DevNet on this one? Whatever. Solscan does show this, so that's cool. Moving on, the CLI defaults the permanent delegate to the mint authority. Yeah, we saw that in Explorer in Solscan, but you can change it using the authorize command. So authorize and then permanent delegate. Authorize, the way I know it, just had the 4 types, 2 for the token account and 2 for the token mint. The 2 for the token account were freeze and close, and the 2 for the mint were the mint authority and the burn authority. No, mint authority and freeze authority, and then burn and close. Yeah, that makes sense. And now there seems to be a permanent delegate. So actually, let's SPL token authorize, give me the help for that. So yeah, we had the token address authority type. So this authority type here, that's mint and freeze for the mints, and the token accounts owner and close. But now we have more possible values like mint, freeze, owner, close, close mint, transfer fee config, withheld config, interest rate, and permanent delegate. Yeah, that's for Token 2022 stuff now. So SPL token authorize and then permanent delegate. And I said I want this to be my super user, this guy. Oh, and I forgot, of course, the token, which was this one. SPL token authorize token address type authority address. So authorize token address type okay, current, new. Looks good. Let's check on chain. If we refresh that, check on chain. Yep. Now the super user is the permanent delegate for this token. I like this. This is fun. You can do so many horrible things with that. Permanent delegate who can just take the tokens back as they wish. And then the usual stuff like SBL token create account for this token, and I'll use it as the user. And then SBL token mint a few tokens. Wait, first, which token and then how many. Cool. And now I should see my token account. So this, interesting. Now it even displays which token program it is. And therefore I don't have enough space. Maybe I would need to make it a bit smaller. The token program is this one. The token is this one, my Permanent Delegate token. The account, that's the ATA. And then it displays the balance. There is no separate close authority for the token account, and there is no delegate in the token account, but there's a permanent delegate on the mint level. So the token mint stores the delegate. So what can we do now? Let's do something fun. Let's accidentally transfer this token, I don't know, 37 of them, to the system program. And then I will need to fund that account. The recipient address is not owned by the system program. Well, the system program is not owned by the system program. Let's say yes, I allow this, because like a wallet might not have this check, or my program might not have this check like the CLI does. And now it will still tell me to fund it. Yes, that's fine. I will also fund your token account. And then, there we go. I accidentally sent some tokens to the system program. And my SBL token accounts, now I only have 1,300 anymore because I sent 37 to the system program. Which, of course, I will never be able to get back. Check in here. Yeah. So it doesn't show me the owner for some reason, but if I click on that, it will display the owner as the system program. And the system program obviously is never gonna just send tokens around. So I accidentally sent the tokens there. Oh no, what can I possibly do now? Oh no, if only there was a permanent delegate that can transfer from anywhere to anywhere. Conveniently, there is. So all I gotta do is be like, first of all, Solana config set, I want to go to the super user, and then I SBL token transfer. And now I need some help because I don't know how I can specify the token account. So it goes like this: which token mint, which amount, and then which recipient. But how can I specify from? Sender token account. Specify the sending token account. That's what we need to do. Okay, so SBL token transfer from, we said this is the token account of the system program. From this token account, this token, that was our token. How many? All 37. And then the recipient, where do I send it to? Should I send it back to the user? Yeah, why not? Let's take this one. Back to the user. Let's see. Oh, look. That goes through. Transfer from here to here. Although that is confusing because it's not really from here. This guy is just signing and it's really transferring from here, which is the system program account. Like it's the system program's ATA. This one doesn't tell me more. Do you have a more interesting view on this? There we go. There we see the changes. This one was reduced by 37. This one has added 37. Such that it has the 1337 back. Nice. So if you now accidentally send something to the token mint or the system program or some other program or whatever, the permanent delegate can get it back. The tokens are not forever lost. Which comes at the disadvantage, of course, that the tokens are never really just yours because the delegate could just take them. But yeah, there are use cases where it's useful to have this permanent delegate. Like if that permanent delegate was a smart contract, like a program, I can see myself trusting it. I mean, it's similar to a NFT update authority, right? I mean, yes, I still hold the token, but if they update my metadata to essentially invalidate it, then I'm also screwed. And that's a common practice that is used right now. So if you're like, oh, I would never do that kind of a thing, I don't want that. Like, well, think about how often it is already the case in the things that you use. Programs have update authorities that can just change whatever it's doing. That's why I'm such a fan of immutable programs. That's why I'm such a fan that also Token 2022 is gonna go immutable by 2024, or is estimated to go immutable by 2024, we'll see. Also, token metadata by Metaplex is going immutable within the next half year or so. So yeah, the exciting stuff. I mean, I like that sort of development. But back to what we were just discussing. Yeah, this permanent delegate. In many cases, you're not the single only user of the single only owner of an NFT. I mean, Metaplex with their PNFTs, essentially, it's also the Metaplex program that owns it. It's nothing really different to this permanent delegate. With a PNFT, the permanent delegate lies in the token metadata program because it can do the transfer. If the token metadata program is like, well, I just transfer without the user signing, then it can do that, right? So it's not so different. But yeah, it's dangerous. I admit that. It's not like, this is a feature how people can easily get scammed. So I think I want to just focus this video on that feature of the new token program, permanent delegates, such that you get that in your head that yes, this is a thing that you might want to consider when receiving Token 2022 tokens. Speaking of receiving Token 2022 tokens, one of the things that is still missing for that, right, is wallet integration. And here they describe if you are a wallet, that's how you would, fetch the token accounts and display them. But I think that Backpack already supports Token 2022. Let's check that. All right, I imported my user wallet. I'm going to go to DevNet. Yeah, cool. I see my Solana balance. No NFTs. But it also doesn't show me more tokens. Maybe it doesn't support Token 2022 yet. Or just not on DevNet. SolScan also doesn't. And I don't think Phantom will. Yeah, none of them show my... So, we still have a long way to go with this. I want to go back here. Whee! I hope that you still learned something today. I mean, Token 2022 is still being worked on, still being audited. You don't want to use it in production yet. But as a dev, it's always nice to keep up to date on the developments. Like I learned about 2 new extensions that I didn't know about before. And I know that Token 2022 supports permanent delegates. So it's not enough anymore to check that the token account doesn't have a delegate. No, you also need to check that the token mint doesn't have a permanent delegate. Or you just trust your devs. But in an industry with that many scams, I wouldn't. So I hope that you enjoyed this little shallow dive, because we didn't go deep on the new token program. Let me know what other features you want me to look at. And yes, as promised, I will make more videos on the Token 2022 because I assume that this will be pushed quite heavily in the future and most of the new tokens will support that standard. But before we can get there, first wallets and major programs like DeFi products and whatever, like open book exchange and whatnot, they will need to support Token 2022 before it can reach adoption. But as I said, I always want to be on the side of working on those things early such that I can make my products compliant to those standards. Not like I make many products, but like you might. And I'm here for you to help you on your Solana journey. So thank you for watching this video, and I shall see you in the next video, where I have no fucking idea what we're gonna do, but we're gonna do something fun, something related to Solana. Who would have thought? I mean, the transfer hook would really be interesting. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, in the next video, we're gonna take a look at the transfer hook of the Token 2022 program, because that could actually be really cool for supporting NFT royalties without having to go through token metadata. Till then, you can watch those videos, like and subscribe as always. Well, you only need to subscribe once, really. But for those 2 people who are new here, you can subscribe. And turn on the notification bell. Also just need to do that once. And then I'll see you in the next one. Till then, adios.